As we continue our 2024 MAC Volleyball preview and content days, I am so excited to be joined by Buffalo head coach Scott Smith. Coach, thank you so much for joining me. How are things going out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Things are going really well. Great start to preseason. We've got a lot of freshmen. They're working really hard, but they're fitting in really nicely very quickly.
I want to dive into kind of your background with this team because you've been at UB for 10 years and it's your sixth year as head coach. It seems like every single year this program has really steadily improved under you. You're coming off Buffalo's best season in the D1 era. You went 23-9, which is incredible. Had a program best 5 players earn all MAC honors. From your perspective, as you look over, the 6 years as head coach or 10 years at the school, how has this team continued to steadily improve?
Yeah, I think, UB attracted me because I felt like there was a lot of potential. I thought they had a lot of great resources. Buffalo's a really cool city. That kind of surprises people once they're here. But um, when I got here, we had a lot of work to do. It kind of been struggling for years, and we wanted to build it in a sustainable way. And so every year we've done something the program's never done before. I feel like for 10 years straight, it's like, hey, that was a program first. That was a program first. So it's kind of kept kind of our morale up when things haven't gone well, that even in some of the low times, we've done something the school's never done before. And then we've just been attracting stronger and stronger players as they come in at a little higher point. We're able to reach a little higher. But it's been really exciting over this entire time. And then once I took over as head coach, I didn't have to change a whole lot. A lot of our systems were kind of, I helped implement them when I was the assistant, and the changeover was pretty smooth. Obviously, we had a couple tough years in there with COVID, and then our opposite from Slovakia, Monica, getting sick and having to go through that, and just early in my career as a head coach was really tough. But we've come out the other side of that, a stronger program, stronger team, and really good heads on our shoulders, knowing what's important.
And despite all of that, again, this team has just continued to grow. And you mentioned every year it feels like you're getting a program best something or knocking down some milestone. This team has been to the NIVC tournament for the past 2 seasons. When you set goals in the beginning of the year, how have you been setting them to keep that momentum going forward? Do you talk about trying to get these program first, or do you just have bigger goals that you're trying to check off?
No, it's definitely bigger goals, and I mean the results are what they are. We're trying to do certain things from a process standpoint, and I mean the results are coming with every time we reach one of those milestones. With we have different offensive goals, different defensive goals. As we're getting those, we're finding we're winning more and more matches, and we just stay focused on that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about that offense a little bit because you've had one of the best offenses in the conference last year and a few big pieces returning, which is big. A player like Abby Lee back for her 6th year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just been absolutely dominant, top 5 in the MAC in hit percentage and blocks per set last season. But I love that she's also a nasty server. She's kind of that great all-around player. How huge is it to have her back for another year?
Yeah, that was really exciting. I mean, that really changed the outlook for this season. I mean, I mentioned before we have 8 freshmen coming in. If she wasn't coming back, we'd be having 9 or another newcomer. So that was a little daunting. So her deciding to finish out her career and graduate along with her sister Mandy was really special. I think that's a really, really cool story for the two of them. But yeah, she's just been our rock. She's so solid. She's efficient and consistent. Like there's very rarely a match where she's not doing a really good job on offense and defense.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Lee sisters both have just been so steady for you guys since coming in. How does that sister dynamic kind of play out on the team?
Yeah, no, they do a really great job together. I mean, they were both voted captains last year along with Maria Feudy. She's from the same high school. So having 3 captains from the same high school was kind of like, oh, is this the best idea? But they work so well with each other and support the rest of the team. It was pretty easy for the team to vote them into those positions. But yeah, they have such a strong connection. They've played together for so long and just know each other really, really well. A lot of the time, we're not even talking about what tempo we want to run the slide on. They just kind of do it, and they connect just really well.
Another play I want to ask about is 5th year Katrin Trebahovska. who had an insane year last year, not only hitting, but serving, and she just absolutely tears it up. Since coming to Buffalo in 2022, how have you seen her really grow as a player?
Yeah, she's really matured a lot. I mean, she had kind of a rough time her first season, little error prone, things like that. But I mean, the power's there. She has every shot in the book. She's just needing to really recognize the situation and choose the right shots in the right times. And I think she's done such a good job of just learning and studying the film and seeing where she's done things really well and where she can really improve. She's just like really come a long way, just a lot of growth in just the few years we've had her. And kind of still looking to make another big jump. I think she was so consistent this past year, a lot more consistent than she was, but she's looking even better this year, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, well, we've hit on some of those, of course, veterans that are coming back, and you mentioned the 8 freshmen that are coming in, or newcomers rather. How has the dynamic been between these older players who develop into leaders and players that you're still trying to integrate into the team?
Yeah, no, they have such a good working like relationship. Our returners are all kind of acting as mentors. They meet with them after practices and kind of talk through a few things, some of the concepts maybe that are brand new, and just helping them figure things out. But they have such good relationships. They're pushing each other. The freshmen, sometimes we just split it up and we're like, okay, 8 newcomers against the 8 returners, and let's go. And it's competitive. They are just really scrappy and have injected like a new energy into the program. It's been really fun.
It's huge too when you can just kind of throw them in the fire and see how they do. You know, it's kind of like sink or swim. You're going up against these veterans that have been here for a while. You guys got to figure it out.
Yeah, no, it's been really cool.
When you take a look at your roster, I mean, it's an international fest essentially. You have so many countries represented: Argentina, Canada, Slovakia, Brazil. How do you feel like the team's benefited from having players from all over?
Yeah, I think they all come with their own experiences, understanding different systems, international volleyball, which a lot of our systems we've kind of mirrored our program after. So they come in with a little bit of knowledge about that and like just really high IQs. They've all played kind of in their national team pipeline at some point in their careers, and just that experience playing against so many different countries at such a high level. And even they've been playing in their countries, they're playing with much older players a lot of the time. And being so young, listening to them, they just have really a depth of understanding that some of our freshmen from the States don't necessarily always have.
Yeah.
So they are able to kind of, even as freshmen, just kind of help everybody out. Just fresh perspective and really focused on what we need to do here.
Yeah, I feel like something in the international game that a lot of times doesn't translate over at the youth level and high school level here is really that volleyball IQ. And of course, part of it is, substitutions. We have 9,000 of them and they have 6. So it's a little
Right.
bit different. But I'm wondering, because you're recruiting these players from all over, have you gotten to go on any pretty cool recruiting trips? Or I guess for the ones that weren't already playing in the US, kind of how'd you find them?
Yeah, I mean, well, Canada's so close for us. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a really easy drive. But I mean, we have some Canadian players from the western part of the country coming in next year. So I've been traveling a lot there. I've been to Europe a few times and kind of met some of the coaches there. So we have some good contacts that we've developed relationships with. So that's been nice. And kind of working on some trips down to South America for next year. But yeah, just building those connections and kind of getting to know different coaches that can help us help steer players towards our program has been really great. UB is a really strong international campus just from the general student population, and I think all of our teams here kind of reflect that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, when you look at just the diversity in your team, it's great. And I'm sure the players learn so much about it. Of course, not only on the court, but off the court. It's great to have those cultures come together for sure. I want to look at your non-conference schedule a little bit because you got some tough opponents. You
Sure
play a
do.
team like Pitt, who went to the Final Four for the last 3 seasons. You see Ohio State, Florida, and others. Why was it a point for you to schedule so tough?
A lot of those matches, they kind of reached out to us. We kind of put ourselves in a pretty good position, knew we had a strong team coming back. And we wanted to challenge our team a lot more than we had in the past, so we could be really prepared. I feel like when we've scheduled preseason in the past, we're coming out of it with a lot of wins, but that first weekend in MAC play has always been tough for us, either splitting games or dropping both, and then kind of waking up after that. And I wanted to make sure that we had our wake up call a little earlier, and we're going into MAC play with our heads on straight.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen in the past anyone can win on any given day in the MAC, so it's important to kind of test yourself early on, and it always helps when you're boosting your RPI a little bit too. That definitely doesn't hurt.
I was
Oh,
gonna say there's no bad teams here, so
exactly. I'm so excited to watch this team, and you guys open things up at home with the Buffalo invite. I can't wait to watch you guys continue to build on that success and keep getting milestones. Coach, thank you so much for joining me.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.